So I'm going to talk a little bit about the youth entrepreneurship ecosystem in Northeast Ohio this morning. And I was at a conference recently in Atlanta, and I was talking about the youth entrepreneurship ecosystem to that conference. And in the audience was Steve Mariotti. Steve is the founder of the Network for Teaching Entrepreneurship, or NIFTE. NIFTE is the largest global organization that focuses on youth entrepreneurship. And they have about 2,000 teachers who've been certified in that program. They've taught hundreds of thousands of kids around the world about entrepreneurship. I'm a certified entrepreneurship teacher through that organization and did win the 2010 Teacher of the Year award from them. But so Steve heard me talking about Northeast Ohio, and he came up after that talk, and he's been all over the world working with students, working with teachers, focused on youth entrepreneurship. And he said that Northeast Ohio absolutely has one of the top 3 youth entrepreneurship ecosystems in the world. In the world, not just in the United States, but in the world. And I really believe that's true. We are actually a leader in youth entrepreneurship. And I spoke over the summer in Melbourne, Australia, talking about what's happening here in Northeast Ohio, because it's really pretty exciting. You guys are very lucky to have the opportunity to take advantage of the youth entrepreneurship ecosystem that's taking place in Northeast Ohio. And as a result of that, there are quite a few kids your age who are actually starting successful businesses. So I want to talk a little bit about the results of our youth entrepreneurship programs here, and then talk about what are specifically some of those programs. So I'm going to talk about a range of different businesses, different sophistications in those businesses. So here's one, actually at the school I teach at, University School. We are starting a 1-to-1 laptop program where every student is going to get a laptop. We've started with the 10th grade. And so a student had the idea of developing skins for the back of the MacBook Airs that the kids are getting. So he worked with our marketing department to take our logo, jazz it up a little bit, and created this product, which is being sold to students in our school. This is an interesting product that a young woman created. Actually, she did this for quite a few years, and she's now a junior at Cleveland State. She started this business when she was actually in 9th grade at the Shaker Heights High School. This is a tissue holder. Now, for the guys, it probably doesn't mean much, but for women, in their purse, who often have a tissue package like this, it tends to get dirty, smashed up. Well, this young lady liked to sew, and so she created these tissue holders. She sold them at local fairs and sold them, I think, for $5. And like I said, paid for a significant amount of her tuition at Cleveland State University, where she's majoring in business. This is a product actually on a whole nother level. We've got 2 sophomores in high school who have developed a line of clothing. This is just one example of it. This is the 216, the area code for Northeast Ohio. One student is a graphic designer. The other is very much focused on web and business. They've teamed together, created a line of clothing. The company is called Vation, Y-Ocean. Their logo is an anchor. And they are actually selling their clothing all over the United States. And they've sold tens of thousands of dollars worth of their clothing. Very successful company. And they were recently recognized by an incubator, a business incubator called Shaker Launch House, for the success of their business. So those are all product companies, but not every student creates a product company. There are many students who create service businesses. And one of the most noteworthy service businesses was created by 2 young men. They were both musicians in the Cleveland Orchestra Youth Orchestra, or COYO. So there's the Cleveland Orchestra, and there's actually a youth orchestra related to the Cleveland Orchestra. And these 2 boys periodically would be invited to perform for adult parties. So adults would call the Cleveland Orchestra and say, we'd like to get some musicians for our party to play, a violin or whatever. And sometimes those people wouldn't want to pay the cost of a professional musician. And these COYO musicians were actually quite good. Well, these two boys had the idea of creating a music agency where they would represent student musicians. And so when somebody called up and looking for a musician, they would negotiate the contract with the adults, find the musicians to do the gig, arrange for the musicians, and handle all the paperwork related to that. They took it to the next level, actually, and negotiated with the Cleveland Orchestra to get, number one, the rights to the Cleveland Orchestra name and Koyo, and an exclusive contract to represent the student musicians in the Cleveland Orchestra Youth Orchestra. And that's been a phenomenally successful business for those guys. So there's a lot of young people your age who are starting successful businesses. And one of the reasons I think we have so much of that going on is because of our ecosystem in Northeast Ohio. So I want to talk a little bit about that, what makes our ecosystem really so world-class. First of all, we have local branches of almost every global youth entrepreneurship organization in the world. So certainly the Network for Teaching Entrepreneurship, NIFTE. We have a NIFTE affiliate here in Cleveland called Youth Opportunities Unlimited. NIFTE focuses on teaching low-income and disadvantaged youth, youth entrepreneurship. So that's their focus. We also have, obviously, the Boy Scouts. Many of you, I don't know if any of you are Boy Scouts, but Boy Scouts actually have an entrepreneurship badge as part of their program. The Girl Scouts, certainly, we have in Cleveland. They are, in fact, I think the largest organization that actually has an element of youth entrepreneurship, and that's the cookie sales. We all like Girl Scout cookies. It turns out the Girl Scouts do a really good job of teaching financial literacy and entrepreneurship through the cookie sales. Junior Achievement, maybe the most well-known program. It is all over the world. We've got actually 4 Junior Achievement organizations here in Northeast Ohio, very active, teaching thousands of kids in Northeast Ohio about youth entrepreneurship. Other organizations are things like Future Business Leaders of America, FBLA. Quite a few high schools have chapters of that. DECA is a marketing organization for high school students. Quite a few schools have that organization. There's a Young Entrepreneur Academy in Medina High School. Young Entrepreneur Academy is a national program that has been brought to Northeast Ohio by Medina. We also have Wisdom University, which is actually started in Detroit by Dan Gilbert, the guy who owns the Cavaliers. And the second branch is here in Cleveland, and it focuses on youth and adult entrepreneurship. And they actually invest in, it's for students who are really ready to start a business because they will actually invest in your business. So we have a lot of, like I said, national and global organizations that have working in Cleveland. But we also have a lot of really strong regional and homegrown youth entrepreneurship initiatives going on here in Cleveland. So one of them is the Scholarship for Entrepreneurial Engagement, which runs a regional business plan competition, has a really nice curriculum that they've made available to high schools all over Northeast Ohio, and then in the spring have a competition that brings together students from all these schools. There's something that I run called the Celebration of Youth Entrepreneurship. It's an annual event where we bring in well-known young entrepreneurs to speak to about 1,500 students and adults throughout the day. This year it's going to be April 18th. Our speaker this year is Carl Sjogren. He worked for Google, then went out and started his own high-tech software company. He was responsible for Google Calendar, by the way, left to start his own business. That business was bought by Mark Zuckerberg at Facebook, and then he worked directly for Mark Zuckerberg for quite a few years, and now he's actually left and started yet another high-tech company. He will be our speaker on April 18th. Associated with that, I've got a youth entrepreneurship fair that brings together the entire Northeast Ohio youth entrepreneurship ecosystem. So it's, you might think of it as a trade fair where all these organizations come together to promote youth entrepreneurship in Northeast Ohio. At that fair, we also have young people like yourselves who are there selling their products, promoting their services. There's the LEAP Accelerator program at Shaker Launch House. There's a whole series of summer programs. LEAP is a 6-week summer program where serious young entrepreneurs like yourselves intern at the accelerator working with the startup companies that are the adult startup companies in the accelerator. So you learn what it's like to really start a business, a significant business, and then you're expected during that 6-week period to start your own business. So it's a really serious entrepreneurship accelerator program for students who are really ready to take that next step and launch a serious business. There's a nice residential program at the Lake Erie College called Learning About Business, or LAB, where you stay at the college, you spend a week of intense training on entrepreneurship. It's a wonderful program. There's a great leadership program. We have something called the Cleveland Leadership Center in Cleveland, which teaches leadership from high school, actually all the way through adult. They've got a whole series of programs, but one of them is Look Up to Cleveland. Look Up to Cleveland is a summer program. They also have an after-school program where you meet civic leaders all around Northeast Ohio, you meet entrepreneurs, and learn about the ecosystem, the general economic system in Northeast Ohio. It's really a great program. And then Kent State has the Young Business Scholars Program. It's a high school program at Kent State. It's a summer program, another residential program, where you stay at Kent State and very intensively learn about business. So there's a lot of things going on in the summer if you're interested. They're all also internship programs, very competitive internship programs. Cleveland Clinic has started a business internship program. For a long time they had a medical or technology internship program for high school students, which was very competitive. They've also started a business internship at the clinic where you work in their innovation center, which tries to commercialize the technology that's developed at the clinic. You actually work in that program. So that's a really great world-class organization, and students have an opportunity to work within that organization. Then, of course, schools. We've got quite a few schools doing very innovative work around youth entrepreneurship. So the Cleveland School District, we've read a lot about the Cleveland School District. They're actually doing some really innovative things. They've opened 15 innovative schools throughout the Cleveland Metropolitan School District. A number of them have entrepreneurship as a central component of their curriculum. So they've got a digital arts program, which is focused on the recording industry, digital film, and gaming, and it has entrepreneurship built into it. They have a history high school that has entrepreneurship built into it. In Akron, got some interesting things going on in Akron. The National Inventors Hall of Fame School, which focuses on STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, also has entrepreneurship embedded in that curriculum. So there's quite a bit happening in the public schools. One of the more, probably the most robust program, there's something called the Vation Fair. It's a fair that usually draws about 4,000 to 5,000 people from across Northeast Ohio. Usually about 150 vendors are there. Focuses on innovation and entrepreneurship. So Vation. So these are companies that are doing particularly innovative things in Northeast Ohio. What's really interesting about this fair, it is totally run by students at Beechwood High School. So the entire organization of the day, bringing in the vendors, organizing the fair, setting it all up, publicizing it to the public. Everything is done by students at Beechwood High School. It's a very sophisticated operation. And then there's a lot going on in private and charter schools in Northeast Ohio. I lead something called the Veal Youth Entrepreneurship Forum, which is a group of 8 private schools in Northeast Ohio, and focused on youth entrepreneurship. So the students get together periodically, the teachers get together periodically, share best practices around youth entrepreneurship, and we have a business plan competition between the private schools that is connected with another organization, entrepreneurship organization called TIE, the International Entrepreneur. It's a global adult organization that sponsors a global business plan competition. The winner of the Veal Youth Entrepreneurship Forum competition will represent the state of Ohio in the global competition, and that global competition takes place in Washington, D.C. this June. And then in a number of schools, private schools, you can actually major in business at the high school level. So Cuyahoga Valley Christian Academy, my school, University School, and others you can actually major in business by taking the classes, doing the extracurricular activities. Sort of like a scaled down version of a business degree at the undergraduate level. So there is a lot going on in Northeast Ohio, both with global organizations that work here in Cleveland. We've got lots of great homegrown, regional organizations, initiatives started right here in Northeast Ohio. Lots of things happening in the schools. You've got summer programs. You are really lucky, actually. You may not realize it. Are really lucky to have one of the top youth entrepreneurship ecosystems in the world. And hope you take advantage of it before you graduate and go on to college. All right, thank you.